We're on Avodah Zarah Parakeh Mishnah Gimel. Third Mishnah in the 5th chapter, Masechet Avodah Zarah. Continuing to discuss about when does yayin, wine, become possibly yayin nesech. Says the Mishnah, Nachri shaya ma'avir im Yisrael kadei yayin mimakom lemakom. So the non-Jew was traveling, he was in Jewish wine, and the non-Jew was helping him transport kadei yayin, wine jugs, from place to place. So the question is, how long can the Jew leave the non-Jew alone and still be assured that the wine still is kosher? Im haya bechezkat hamishtamer mutar. If it is chezkat hamishtamer, chazaka is meaning established fact that it's guarded, then mutar. If he assumes that it's guarded, what does that mean? Says the Bar Tanura. Kozman shelo hodioshu maflig. As long as he doesn't tell him I'm leaving, have bechezkat hamishtamer. That's considered the chazaka that it's guarded. If laflig means to go away, even if you've traveled a mile away, a mile, however much that was. The anachri mirtat, we saw that phrase before. The anachri is afraid. And he says, Hashta ate Yisrael, the Jew will come. V'chazili, and he'll see me. Meaning, if the non-Jew doesn't know that the Jew went away very far, he doesn't know where he is. He could come back any second. That's called chezkat hamishtamer. And therefore the wine is, the nachi is mirtat, he's afraid. And therefore the wine is mutar. But if he tells him he's maflig, listen, I'm going away for a bit. So then, how long is it? So the Mishnah says, "Kedei sheyistom v'yistom v'yigov." So that's the amount of time that it would take yistom for him to open up, okay, to make a hole in the seal, v'yistom, and seal it up again, v'yigov, and it dries back. Okay, Rabban Shimon Gamliel says no. Kedesh yiftach, enough time to open it up, v'yaguf, and to seal it, v'tigov. Okay, what's the difference between the two? The first, the Tana Kama says, listen, how long would it take for him to make a hole in the? So how did they transfer these things? These were called kadim. So they were called amphora, like big. They transported wine and basically everything else in these big jugs. And the jug had a seal on it. Okay? So the question is, how long would it take for the non-Jew to have wine? Was it the amount of time it would take him to puncture a hole in the seal and then replace that puncture and then dry it up? Or Kadesh Yiftach, to open the whole thing up and then reseal it and have it dry again? What's the machlok? So the Bar Tanura says, the Gemara says, basically, we're talking about a megufa shel seed who depligates. They would make there were different ways of making the plug, the seal. So it was made of seed. Seed is lime. I don't know how they make it out of lime. I'm not sure. I'm not up on the science of jug sealing. So they would even make it out of lime. Okay? That's where they would argue. Okay? Why? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, if it was a lime or plaster or whatever, if it was a plaster seal, it's lo minkar. You wouldn't know. Shasid lavan, because the seed, the plaster is white. Ve'eno nikar ben chadash liyashan, and you couldn't tell. But megufatit, but if it was a seal of mud or some kind of mortar, as it were, then the Rabbanan agreed. Meaning, I'm not entirely sure what the machlokah was. Meaning, the question Rabbi Gamliel says, listen, if it was a certain kind of material, you couldn't tell. Then you couldn't tell if there was a hole. Okay, that wasn't enough to make a hole. Rather, he'd have to be far enough away. Shiftach v'yaguf v'tigo. He has to open it up and seal it v'tigo. Because otherwise, if you could tell that he made a hole, then you would see he made a hole. Whereas if he replaced the whole cover, nobody could tell about that at all. We'll stop here and dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.